Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Jackson. I am here tonight with another group of our Black Ink Book Festival authors. They are here to talk to us about their work, to talk to us about what inspires them to write, why they're going to be at this amazing book fair on January 28th here in New Orleans. And we're going to get to learn about them. Now, the goal here is for you to learn about them, to learn about their work, but to join us on Saturday, January 28th at City Park here in New Orleans for our free book festival. This festival is going to be dynamic, okay? We're going to have over 65 authors. We have three best-selling authors who will be featured at the event. We're going to have a live DJ. We're going to have the Tramps and prizes and just a dynamic event. We also will have reading in the garden. So we're going to have some of our authors who will be in the botanical gardens reading their work. So tonight is all about our authors and getting an opportunity to meet and to connect with their work. So let's get them on the screen. Hello, hello. Hi, everybody.
Good
Hey,
evening.
Hi.
Hello.
Good
Hi.
evening.
it's so good to see all these beautiful faces. We are here to talk about the thing we love most, writing, right? We all
Yes.
love to write. Love it so much that we wrote books. Probably
Amen.
against the will of those who did not know we could even write. I know in my case, I had family to go, I wasn't expecting this. Yeah, I've always wanted to write a book. It was something I wanted to do since I was a very little girl, and now I have three published books. But all of you have some dynamic work, and we are so excited to be here to talk to you about it and to talk to you about your participation at the Black Ink Book Festival. This is our first live book fair. We have over 65 authors from all over the US. This is so dynamic. It's not just from New Orleans, but from everywhere. We have people coming from Ohio, from, oh my God, Pennsylvania, from Maryland. They're coming from everywhere to be a part of this event, and that makes
Texas.
me so happy. In Texas, that's great.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Where are you from again? Tell me, Wonderful, where are you from?
I'm based in South Carolina.
Nice. I mean, coming in to connect with readers, to sell our books, to, allow the world to get a feel for what drove us, what inspired us to write what we decided to write. And so right now we're going to spend some time and get to know each and every one of our writers. We're going to start with you, Winifred. Winifred and I have participated. She's participated in our Pen Posse Roundtable. For those of you who don't know about it, who don't know about the Black Writers Workspace, please go out there, find us on Facebook, and join the Black Writers Workspace page. But also be a part of all the cool things that we're doing, like our Pen Posse Roundtable. We spend 2 hours on a Saturday and just talk about a particular topic. So it's so great. Winifred was the youngest person on the Pen Posse. She made us all feel very old, um, but we forgave her for
Sorry.
that. So Winifred, share with us. Tell us about yourself and tell us about your work.
Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Winifred Tato. I am a now 5-time self-published author. I mainly publish fantasy and young adult novels. I have my first book baby with me, Child of Tempest, and currently it's part of a ongoing fantasy series called The God Scion. And I really discuss topics about family and connecting different people through different backgrounds and exploring those traumas and how we can be more connective to each other and on the backdrops of fantasy and dragons and mystery and all that good stuff. And my most recent published book is called The Entrepreneur Yellow Pages, and it's basically a directory for self-published and traditional published authors to find different resources about the publishing world. There's over 40 different book businesses inside of the first edition of the book. These are people I've worked with, these are people I know, and then also people I reached out to and talked to and connected with. And I really wanted to just put out that resource to be for authors and writers who may not know how the publishing process works, or maybe struggling trying to find an editor or a book cover designer or a PR person. So great to be
Wow.
here again with you, Michelle, and can't wait to meet the rest of these authors as well.
You just threw me. I wasn't expecting you to talk about a business book, something that we so greatly need. For those who know my story, I started the Black Writers Workspace after I released my second book, February the 14th, the 2020, and the whole world shut down a month later. And I decided to start the workspace, and I was like, this will be for the 15 or so people I know who's ever written a book. That was what I was trying to do. I invited all of those 15 people. They all agreed to come on board, and now we have over 13,000.
Wow.
So it was all about what Winifred is saying, resources and sharing information. When I published my first book in 2010, I knew nothing about book publishing. I was so clueless. I ended up spending too much on an editor. I ended up going with a vanity publisher, spending too much there. I made every mistake because it just wasn't one place to go to find information. So this is a wonderful thing that you're doing. Are you going to have this book at the book fair?
Yes, it's right now in its ebook form, and its paperback will be coming out hopefully spring of this year. So I will be sharing postcards and links for authors to go and download and share with other authors too.
Excellent. Let's talk about your fantasy, Child of Tempest. Tell us a little bit about it, and what made you want to write fantasy, and what is it that you're hearing from other from readers who are now reading fantasy from an African American writer, African American writer, correct? And
Yes.
what are you hearing from them? Are they receptive to it? What are you learning?
Yeah. So I first started writing Child of Tempest because since I was little, I've always had a love and affinity for fantasy. And I also love just how sometimes you could mix it with your real world issues or problems or just day to day life. And I really wanted to do that. Um, and as I was writing the book, I didn't focus too much on race. Of course, it's very prevalent that there are Black characters and white characters and Asian characters and so on and so forth. And it's not just because they're Asian, they do this, or because they're Black, they do this. They're just a Black fairy, they're a Black witch, or they're a villain, so on and so forth. And just reading through like reviews and talking to other readers really was very fun because they got to connect with these characters despite their differences or how they looked. It wasn't that, oh, they like this character because they're Black. They like this character because she's great. She's a hero. She is a little crazy. She can mess up and make mistakes. And that's what I really wanted people to fall in love with, was the characters and their journeys, and to see themselves through those lenses or through those characters. And just I originally, it was just supposed to be one book, but I couldn't stop with Child of Tempest, and it just kind of took off from there and became now this series, and now really what I'm building my own business, helping other authors and connecting other authors. And if I could really put it all together, I would say connection is like the word for my book series and just my book work. It's really just being connective and having people have those shared experiences and talk about them and connect with others and really join together and enjoy some reading.
That is so amazing, that you're writing, that you're sharing. I am really inspired by what you're doing and your covers of your book. And they are amazing. So congratulations on everything that you're doing. And for those of you out there who want to meet her, get a signed copy of her books, scan the QR code, register for the Black Ink Book Fair. If you pre-registered, we do have some prizes for you. So thank you so much, Winifred, for being here with us. Tatrice, talk to us.
Hello, I am Tatrice Harrison. I'm an attorney in the New Orleans area. I'm also an author, and then I write poetry every now and then. So my first book is titled Bitch Hunt. It is a narrative nonfiction. It's about 5 Black female attorneys. It's about their individual stories about how they're personally attacked for who they are or who people perceive them to be. And I take you through each one of their stories of how they deal with that situation and how they try to overcome that that attack that they're being subjected to. The book is true stories. Each chapter is about a different person, so it's 5 different chapters. So it's my first book. Currently, I'm actually working on my second book. My second book is going to be about judicial corruption. So I'm staying in the theme of, in the legal world. Mm-hmm. The difference between the current book and the other book is that these judges were actually removed because they were found to be doing some things that were, pretty salacious, from sexual harassment to, taking money, to doing a whole bunch of other things. So I'm talking about judges in the New Orleans area, outside the New Orleans area, and then some of them might be in other states as well. So that's that book I'm currently working on, and I'm hoping for that book to come out this year, but I'm in the early stages, so not sure. I also have a publishing company called Harrison Publishing. I'm an independent author, and I'm also trying to help other authors to try to realize their dream of writing a book and providing that information. I want to act more like a project manager instead of sort of like a person that just publishes books. So kind of collabing with people and showing them how to navigate their way to being able to publish their first book. So
that is so amazing. I was next to Tatrice at a book fair a couple of months ago, and that cover and that title, Bitch Hunt, had everybody lined up to get it. It's just really appealing. And I love that you have that one liner when people say, what is the book about? Because of course that's always the question. And, sometimes as writers, we get into trying to explain every detail of it, but you were very good to say, hey, this is about 5 Black lawyers and some of the experiences that they have. Now talk to us a little bit about, if you had to give advice to someone who was writing a book that highlighted factual, true story, what are some of the things that we have to consider when we're telling someone else's story from a legal perspective?
Well, from a legal perspective, you want to do your research, of course, and you don't want to. I'm a person that could kind of like feel my way, like understanding like people's mindset. Actually, one of the people that I wrote about in my book, we know each other, but we don't know each other that well. She remarked about how well I was able to capture her story. Everybody may not necessarily be able to do that. One of the things I would say is just try to be as truthful as possible. There are some things that you could probably embellish a little bit because we as Black people have similar experiences when you talk about, say, maybe your Black mom or growing up in a church and things like that. So there's some things that you could probably embellish, but I was trying to say is stay true to truth as much as possible. When you're doing your research, don't write anything that the person might say, well, I never would have did that. So you want to just kind of weigh those things when you're probably writing about someone that's actually, a real person and not a fictional character.
Tell me that moment you knew this book had to be called Bitch Hunt. What was going on? Just talk to us about that title.
So I was with a friend of mine who's also an attorney, and I came up with, I don't even remember the name of it. And she was like, nobody's going to read that. She said, that sounds stupid. So we started like playing around with names. And she said, well, it's almost like a witch hunt. And then we were like, I said, but I don't want to call it witch hunt. I said, no, I said, that's too used. And so then we sort of came up with, if you drop the W off, put the B on, you're talking about Black women, boom, bitch hunt. So that's really how it came about. Because the other name, nobody wouldn't have cared about it if I would have put the other name. But bitch hunt elicits so many things, sometimes negative, and then and sometimes positive.
Right. Oh man, I can't wait. I hope everybody will come out and meet you, get your book, read it, review it. Just so happy to have you here and for you to be a part. And you're from this area. You're here in New Orleans, so just so great to have you with us. Kitty, we have another New Orleans native here. Tell us about your work. Tell us about yourself and tell us about your work.
Hello, everybody. I am Kitty Arsenault. I am a native of New Orleans, born and raised right there in the 6th Ward. So that's me. I am a 2-time international award-winning author. Proud to say that. For 2020 and 2021. So I'm excited about that. There's my medals back there, if y'all can see them. So the book that's hitting the charts and everything is called Ruth Ready, Ruth, like Ruth out the Bible. So one day I was talking to someone that I know. I'm not going to necessarily call her a friend, but I was talking to her and she was, you know how women say, I know you probably heard it before, how women say, I'm waiting on my Boaz. I'm waiting on my Boaz. And as she was talking to me, because she had said that she met her Boaz, she introduced him to everybody. And then a few months later, they weren't together anymore. And so as she was telling me this, you know, I heard in my spirit, but was she Ruth ready? And I'm like, you know what? That's a book title. I got to write it. Because me also, I've been writing since I've been about 8. I've been writing short stories, poetry, things like that. So I've always wanted to write a book. And even though this is not my first book, I had some of the same bad experiences that you had, Michelle. I wrote a book in 2004. I actually have 4 books that I need to republish independently. I went to a publishing company that sold to another publishing company that actually went out of business. And so that's how that is. So once I gained some information, then I was able to do Ruth Ready, publish it independently. And so this book is just about relationships. When it first came out and I was writing it, I thought that it would be for women that wanted to be married, you know, but then married women started reading the book and it was like, oh no, I love this book. This book is for me too. And so the book is for married women and single women. It talks about what love is. It talks about loyalty to mentorship. It talks about like before the vows. It talks about a happy marriage. Is there such a thing as happy marriage, or is that the sole purpose, you know, to have a happy marriage? And so I just kind of talk about those things. I share some of my own experiences in the book as well, being very transparent with that also. And so that's Ruth Ready. I also have some other books, some children books, and I have a coloring book for Black girls. Affirmations is inside of it with each, you know, a different character that look like us.
So talk to me about Ruth, because I know the story and I am someone who I've made 20 years of marriage last year. But I remember before I married having that moment. I'm 27, 28 years old, and honestly, everybody in my family is married. Okay, all the cousins, everybody is married. My mother is giving everybody this, they give that excuse, oh, she's a career person, so she'll marry us. So I was like, are you serious right now? So I had that moment of like, will I meet my Boaz? Am I going to meet someone who I will be evenly yoked with? Talk to us about what tip or what point made in your book was the one that more women gravitate towards. I know there's something specific in your book that you are hearing consistently from women. What is that point? What is that idea?
So actually I have one of the chapters is who is Boaz and what does he represent? Mm-hmm. And so, a lot of times when women say that they want to meet their Boaz, they're basically thinking about him redeeming Ruth, right? So they're thinking about the financial aspect. And so when they get to that chapter, they're like, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about this, because I'm talking about his personality. I'm talking about his characteristics, and different things that that you should be looking for in a man, and not just financial aspect. Because in that, in the book, I talk about, he might be handsome, but he could be beating on you. Mm-hmm. He might be driving a fancy car, but he might have other women. And so instead of bringing them to, instead of them, talking about the outer that they're looking for, I'm trying to draw them into the inner person that they, should be desiring also.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm definitely going to get a copy. I hope everybody will come out, get to know you, get a signed copy of Ruth Ready, and get ready for our Boaz, right? Get ready
Right.
and learn about ourselves. That's excellent. As the only guy on the screen, Eric, you've got to wow us with your book. Tell us about your story and tell us about yourself.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you for having me on this broadcast here. And and I also want to say that this is my first actual book fair I'm attending. So I've only been writing for 2 years, so I'm excited about the opportunity, to be part of, the Black Ink Book Festival.
Excellent.
Like I said, my name is Eric Williams. I live in Texas. I actually worked in juvenile corrections for 20 years. And that 20 years experience inspired me to write my trilogy. I actually called the Sky Family Trilogy. I'll be selling all, trilogy. Hopefully, it's a package deal down there while I'm at the book fair. But the first book in the trilogy is called The Last Time. Mm-hmm. It tells the story of a 16-year-old, I guess you could say it's a teenage love triangle. 2 boys kind of squabbling over a female, and just the dynamic between, the whole friction between the triangle itself there, and how the main character ends up getting caught up in law. Getting in trouble with the law, and how your actions don't just affect you; it affects your family also. And how he's kind of the main character's name is Jordan Sky, and how he kind of just get caught up. He's not a bad character, but he does bad things. He's selfish, I guess the best way to describe it. And he's not worried about his actions, but anyway, his actions have not ramifications just for himself, but throughout his whole family. And it just talks about how his mother Vicky just struggles. She's a single mom, trying to raise actually 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl, and just how she's just struggling trying to do the right thing by him. I don't want to get too much into it, and I don't want to give too much away. But the second book in the series, is called You Never Said Goodbye. And it just carries over the story from the first book there. The second, it just talks about, I guess, to carry on because some of the actions that happened in the first book, carry over into this story there, and it deals a lot with the mother and just the drama that raising boys in the world today, especially being a single mom. And the last book in the series is called Closure. Exactly what the title implies, is what the story implies. It's closure. I guess you say I close the series down. So,
what did you learn about yourself in this process of writing these 3 books?
That I enjoy writing. Mm-hmm. I'm not, I'm probably sure I would be willing to bet I'm probably older than any other other panels here. So I started writing later in life, and not trying to put nobody on spot or anything like that, but I started writing later in life. And just once I started writing, I kind of really did enjoy it. And think about it, I actually did not intend to write a book. When I first came up with the idea, I was working in juvenile corrections. I'm no longer working there. I came up with the idea to do it as a play. It was a short play that I was going to be doing, while I was in the correction facility. I didn't get a chance to do the play because just some higher ups and whatnot, denied me the opportunity. Some people thought it was too street, too urban, too real. But anyway, I did, let some of the residents in the program read it, and they enjoyed that 5-page play. And I thought it was good. And from there, like you mentioned earlier about, people could not believe when I told them I was writing a book, I had the same response. When I told my wife I was going to write a book, she kind of, was shocked. Like, what, really? You write? You barely even read a book, But I did read a lot as a kid, when I was growing up. But anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm going to write a book. And then, just based on this 5-page play. And just from there, it just took off.
Well, we celebrate our Black male writers. So congratulations on writing your book and 3 books, not just 1 book, but 3 books. That is something to really celebrate. I want to ask you this, but I want everybody to answer this question. Define your book in 1 sentence. What was the theme of your book? And I asked this question because when I first wrote my first book, The Heart of a Man, people would ask me to tell them about the book, and I would go into this long, unnecessary dissertation about what the book was about. Nobody cared. It was too much. And a girlfriend of mine read the book and said, I love your book. It's about money can't buy you love. And I was like, that's it. She summed it up so well for me and packaged that so that I can, know how to pitch that book also to people. Do you have an idea, in if you're not comfortable sharing, but if you can, what's the theme that you're trying to make sure that your readers walk away with? What is it that you want them to learn in your book? Anybody want to take that?
Yeah, I'll go. For the first book and really for the series, I would say the theme is you can be born in the same household but live a totally different life, and have different experiences. Even if you have the same parents, or you and your siblings were raised the same, but you will still have a different experience and different outlooks on different events that happened throughout your childhood, and really just seeing those different perspectives throughout the story, and following this family and how one mistake can ruin so many people's lives, or one secret can ruin so many lives, even if you think you're protecting them. So, and I know that's kind of a long paragraph than a sentence, but
got it. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I would say that the theme of my book, or I guess the tagline for my book, is racism, sexism, and colorism. But it's also about the fact of Black women always having to defend themselves, even at the level of the education of where they're at. So that's what I would say that in a nutshell, what my book would be about, or the tagline would be about.
When I saw your cover, I immediately knew that your book was about that. It's interesting, I think, because I'm looking at you as a Black woman. And when you talked about being an attorney, it was such an obvious that this book was really kind of demystifying, or really laying out what you're going through. Any of us who've ever had a key position in a company, it's tough. I rose to the ranks in the corporate world. Shopping, so I ran shopping malls for years. I've done a lot of things, wrote policies, different things like that. And it really is tough because you get that label as being, bossy, the bitch, the this, the that, and you either have to learn how to embrace it and move forward, or fight against it. And it's something that you take with you. It's like a badge of dishonor in some ways when you're just trying to get your job done. So I definitely can understand your theme. Definitely. Eric, you want to take that?
Yes. Well, the last time, I'm gonna kind of address each book individually real quickly. The last time, I just think that thing, but as that tomorrow's not promised. I may be giving away story there, but generally speaking, that tomorrow's never promised for none of us. And so you just never know.
Mm-hmm.
When something bad or good, whatever happened. So for You Never Say Goodbye, it's actually a good tagline. Is on the cover here, says there's strength in forgiveness. And I definitely believe that's the central story theme in his book there, as far as You Never Said Goodbye. And closure, as the title implies, it just speaks about closure. Some people in life, right, just can get closure, and some people can't. But if you do or don't get it, you still need to be able to move on for whatever happens. You can't let, any situation cause you, to stop living.
Mm-hmm. Our books are healing people. I don't care what anybody says. I really do believe that these books are healing people. It's just, every time I talk to writers, I feel the same passion from everybody. Wanting to inspire and encourage and help and mold. All this negative stuff in the world about the Black community, to me, can be so easily dispelled by some of these amazing books that are out here to empower and build us up. And I love that. Tell me something. Were you able to get your books in the system, in the incarceration or the prison system that you were working in?
Like I said, well, be real with you. When I started writing the book, I was actually working in the system, but when I finished the book, I had already, left the program. And I was able to get some books donated to the program. And from what I understand, Alex, I don't work the book, but I understand it is a very popular book there. And I'm actually going to try to get the opportunity to speak about the books, to some of the residents there, to go out there and speak, but just kind of having difficulty with COVID and whatnot, and just some of the policy procedures they have as far as bringing outside, people into the program now. But,
Excellent.
Like I said, I'm still new, still learning. So hopefully, I can get in, just different school systems throughout the country.
Definitely. There's someone I wanted to introduce you to. He's not going to be at the book fair, but just remind me of it. A gentleman named Reginald Williams. He has a book about marginalized communities, and he goes out into the prisons and talk to youth, and I think you guys would be a good connect for
You
each
said
other.
Reginald. I'm gonna step away so I can write the name down and remember.
That's fine. That's fine. Kitty, talk to us about what's your theme for your book, especially Ruth Ready. What was that one thing you wanted the reader to just walk away having learned?
I wanted them, well, I want them to walk away knowing that healthy relationships are possible, because if you will to love someone, you can.
Excellent.
One sentence.
One sentence. I love that. Well, everybody, this has been great. I'm going to wrap up since we have a little bit more time with everyone giving our audience a few nuggets of inspiration. Those who are writing books, those who are thinking about writing a book. Just give them a little bit of inspiration. And before we do that, though, we want to make sure everybody knows to come out to the Black Ink Book Fair. It is free. It is at City Park. If you've ever been to City Park in New Orleans, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's winter time, but nonetheless, we've got some good weather here, with the exception of what I think through a tornado almost blew through here today, but that was a whole other situation. We're good. And so it's been really warm, and looking forward to seeing everybody. So let's start with you, Winifred. Just give a little few nuggets of inspiration to our writers.
Okay. Well, hello, writers, our future authors, I should say. I would say the biggest thing is don't be afraid to ask for help or advice. There are so many authors, whether they're traditionally published, whether they're hybrid, whether they're independent, who want to help, who want to give advice, who don't mind helping or helping you connect with someone who could help you better. And being okay with making a mistake. You know, you're never going to write the perfect manuscript. You're never going to write the perfect book. It doesn't exist. It's okay. But write something that you are confident that someone else can read and fall in love with it like you did. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this event, for being a part of the interview, for continuing to write. Thank you for everything that you're doing. And we're looking forward. I can't wait to get your book, your resource book. Be sure to put that on direct to author. I own directtoauthor.com. You can upload your books for free. It's for independent authors. You can go on. We promote you for free, but we also offer services to help you with marketing. So if you haven't already put your books on there, and I think I've got a few of you already, please be sure. We're trying to build the largest database of self-published books. So thank you so much for everything. Tatrice, you want to give a couple of nuggets of inspiration?
I mean, I would just piggyback off of what Winifred said, but also don't let other people discourage you. Do not let other people's negativity discourage you from doing what you love or what you want, whatever it is you want to write about. There's somebody out there that's going to want to read it. So don't let other people dictate or control your narrative. Control your own narrative and control your own destiny.
Excellent. Love it. Love it. Can't wait to see you again with that red jacket. I know when I see that red jacket, what's going on. That's her signature jacket, y'all. And I love it because it fits her book. So you got to see the cover to get it. So absolutely great to see you. Eric, you want to give everybody a few nuggets of inspiration, and we're going to end up with Kitty.
Yes, I just agree with how you pronounce your name again?
Tatrice.
Tatrice spoke about not being discouraged there, because when I first started writing, like I said, I'd never previously shown no inclination to write for the most part, and people were kind of astounded and surprised by it. But I pushed through, and actually, I did publish it there. And I actually started writing this book about maybe 7, 8, 9 years ago. I got discouraged because somebody was negative toward me about my writing. But I don't know. I met a woman at my job I work at now, and I seen her on the computer writing. And I asked, "What are you doing?" She said, "Yeah, I'm writing a book." And I'm like, I was writing a book, 5 years ago. She said, "You know what? Finish that book. And I made a, New Year's resolution to do that. And I did do it. COVID did help, by the way, but that's one positive aspect of COVID. But anyway, I did finish. And from there, I just took off, now I'm with it. I'm 100%, 100 miles an hour, going with it all the way. So I agree with you there. Don't let people discourage you.
Excellent. And thank you for all the work that you've done in the past with working with our youth. And thank you for continuing to write. I love your book covers. Those faces feel like they just jump out at you. When I saw your first cover, I was like, that's really dynamic. So thank you for everything that you're doing. Looking forward to meeting you on January 28th. Kitty, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. So of course I agree with everything everybody is saying, but this is the one thing that I want to leave aspiring authors with. Be true to who you are. Do not try to copy somebody else's work because you think their work might be a little better than what you're doing. Be true to who you are. I think Tay said it. Somebody is going to want to read your book. So that's what I want to leave them with. Be authentic and be true to who you are.
Excellent. Thank you all for being a part of this interview. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to connecting. I'll see you on Friday night, hopefully, and Saturday. I am going to take you off the screen, but please don't go anywhere so I can give you a formal farewell. Thank you. So everybody, again, on January 27th, we're going to be at Baldwin & Co. bookstore in New Orleans. We're going to be there for our martinis and manuscript authors mixer. It is free. You can come out. We have a cash bar. We'll have music and just give you an opportunity to meet with our authors. On the next day, which is that Saturday, January the 28th, we're going to be at City Park at the Pavilion of the Two Sisters inside for a book fair. We have 65 authors. We have a host of other things taking place that I think you're going to really enjoy. But if nothing else, come out, meet the authors, and purchase their books. That's what the book fair is there for you to purchase books. We're going to be giving away some custom book boxes, and the best way to qualify or to register for the drawing is for you to pre-register. So if you hit that QR code, you can pre-register, or if you go to author Michelle D. Jackson /Black Ink, you can also pre-register to attend. It's an Eventbrite event, so you can also register on Eventbrite.